Part 3, the first lesson ****. The first lesson took place in the small library of Willow Creek Academy. Mrs. Thompson had set up a cozy corner with a few chairs, a table, and some books. "Let's start with the basics," she said, handing Emily a mirror. "One of the keys to good pronunciation is understanding how to move your mouth and tongue to create different sounds. We're going to practice in front of the mirror." Emily felt a bit silly at first, but as Mrs. Thompson demonstrated, she began to understand. They practiced the different sounds, th as in this, ch as in chair, and sh as in a sheep. Mrs. Thompson explained the importance of where her tongue and teeth should be for each sound, and they repeated each word multiple times. At first, Emily stumbled. Her tongue felt heavy, and her mouth didn't seem to want to cooperate. But Mrs. Thompson was patient, encouraging her with a warm smile and gentle corrections. "Remember, Emily, practice makes perfect," she said. By the end of the lesson, Emily felt exhausted but accomplished. She had learned so much in just an hour, more than she thought possible. "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson," she said sincerely. "I think I'm starting to get it." Part 4, Practice and Perseverance. The weeks went by, and Emily continued her lessons with Mrs. Thompson. She practiced at home in front of the mirror, repeating words and sentences over and over again. Her mother noticed her efforts and decided to help. "Why don't we try some tongue twisters?" her mother suggested one evening. "They're great for practicing pronunciation and can be a lot of fun." Emily giggled as they tried to say, "She sells seashells by the seashore," and "Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers." They both ended up in fits of laughter, but Emily could feel her confidence growing. At school, she started to notice a difference, too. During English class, she no longer felt a knot of dread in her stomach when it was her turn to read. She began to speak more clearly, and the giggles from the back of the class became less frequent. Mrs. Thompson would give her a nod of encouragement, and Emily would smile, feeling a sense of pride she hadn't felt before. But it wasn't always easy. There were days when Emily felt frustrated, when the words just wouldn't come out right no matter how hard she tried. She would go home, feeling defeated, and consider giving up. But then she would remember Mrs. Thompson's words, "Practice makes perfect." She knew she couldn't give up, not now. Part 5, The Setback. One day, after about a month of lessons, Mrs. Thompson asked Emily to read a passage from a new book in front of the entire class. Emily felt a familiar twinge of nerves but took a deep breath and began to read. She focused on her pronunciation, enunciating each word carefully. But halfway through, she stumbled over a particularly tricky word, ephemeral. The class burst into laughter, and Emily's face turned bright red.